it works to kind of double the sharpening. And then we did one layer just to lighten or kind of brighten the entire photo. So to start off here, we're just going to get rid of all this stuff. And we'll go through this together. So starting off here, we have a retouch layer. You guys looked at retouching earlier with some different tools. So here it is, unretouched or not retouched at all. And here it is retouched. We probably could do a little bit more, but I don't think we need to for the video. But we've got to understand we always have to have a retouch layer first that we feel really good about, because we're going to copy that and sharpen that layer specifically. We're going to do that by duplicating this, dragging it down to the little page here. And let's rename this whatever we're doing to it. We're going to rename this Sharpen. Simply because that's what this layer is going to do. Our next step is to go up here and to filter, Other, and wHighPass. Now if we do this correctly, we should see that our whole photo is just going to turn gray. It almost looks kind of like concrete or something. Now to sharpen, we're going to want this number at around 7 or 8. Now every once in a while we can go higher, especially if it's something really large on the photo or a close-up, a macro shot or something like that. And if it's something that's kind of far away, or like a landscape or a full figure body that's smaller on the photo, then sometimes we've got to go lower. We're going to go 8 on this photo. And as this thing applies, it's pretty much going to look the same. In order for this thing to actually sharpen, we're going to have to change our blending mode here at the top of the layer palette, which says normal at the moment. We're going to have to change that to overlay. Now once we change that to overlay, our sharpen layer is now mixing or blending with our retouch layer. And the mix of those two make this entire photo appear to be sharpened. So if I shut this off, you're going to see that our photo looks a little bit softer or blurry, and it's not. It's just that when we add this back, it's actually sharper. Now understand, if we didn't do a good job with our retouch layer, or we shut this off, it's not going to look as good. Matter of fact, it just sharpened our background layer, which has the little spots on the face. If we shut both of these off, understand that we're not going to have anything but a gray photo. So we have to have this retouch layer here in order for this to work. Now the next thing is, we don't typically want our entire image sharpened. So in order to deactivate part of this sharpen layer, we're going to add a mask, and we want to take some of this away. Now there's two ways to do this, and I'm going to show you the way of just deactivating this whole thing, and then we're going to add some sharpening back in. So to deactivate our sharpening, we're going to paint our mask black. So I'm going to get a paint can, which is mixed in with the gradient tool. Black paint. Make sure you're clicked on your mask and click your photo. You're going to see that your mask turned black, which means you shut off or deactivated your sharpen layer. Now in order to turn some of this sharpening layer back on, we've got to paint some of this mask white. White makes it activated. Black makes it deactivated. So I'm just getting a brush that's going to fit the eye. Clicking on my bracket arrow to enlarge it. I like to work at lower opacities, so I'm going to keep this around 50%, and I'm going to start rubbing on this eye with this white paint. Now I'm trying to get the edge of the brush to touch the eyelashes and the eyelid, because I want those things sharp. And now you'll see a white dot on your mask, which means now the only thing sharpened in our photo is the eye. And we may want to add some sharpening to the hair. depends on your preference, but you may want to add some to the lips. And that's about all I'm going to do here. Now if you want to double sharpen, all I did to double sharpen was take that layer and drag it right here to duplicate. So now all we've done is pretty much doubled our sharpening, simply because we have two of these. If you don't like it, just pull it to the trash can and delete it. You can find out if you like it or not just by shutting this off and looking at it, turning it back on. And I'm going to leave it like that. Now for softening, we're actually going to do the same process. So I'm going to go faster here, but same processes. Duplicate our retouch layer. Rename it what it is. This one's going to be soften. Filter. Other. Don't use this one either because it's going to repeat what you did last time. Go to other still. HighPass. And we're actually going to raise it higher this time. For softening, we typically are going to go more towards the 12 to 15 range. I'm going to choose 13.5. And again, the same process. This isn't going to work until we change our blending mode to overlay. Now here's the problem. All that did was really sharpen everything. So you can see that the imperfections on our skin are actually showing up even more. To make this work for softening, we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Invert. And all invert means in Photoshop is to make the opposite. So we've just taken this layer that made it really sharp and it's softened everything. Now just like before, we don't necessarily want to soften everything. So we're going to add a mask with this little dot down here. And we're going to paint black and mask off some of this stuff. Now I'm going to leave it white, which means the entire photo is softened. I'm going to get a black paintbrush, flip these to black. And now there are some things that I do not want sharpened, or excuse me, I don't want softened, like her eye. So I'm going to rub this black paint on her eye because I don't want it sharpened. I'm going to rub my brush some on her hair because I don't want it softened. So you're going to see that hair sharpen up a little bit because all I'm doing is taking that softening layer off. Now some other things that need to have the softening taken off. In this case, the lips, I want it to be a little bit sharper. And then any edges, you got to be careful about softening edges or you just make your photo look blurry. So I'm actually going to shrink this and I'm going to make the edges of the nose sharper. Otherwise it just looks like a blurry photo. And also probably a good idea would be the edges of the face, which I would normally zoom in to do this if I was working on a photo professionally. But just for the sake of speed here, I'm just going to rub this brush around the edge of the cheek and the chin to sharpen that back up. Now if you don't like how soft that is, all you need to do is lower the opacity a little bit to make it look a little bit more natural. And I like that about right there. And I see a spot right here where the skin accidentally got sharpened. So I'm going to go back to here, paint that black, but besides that, we're done. Now we have sharpening, softening, and just at the end here, just to show you what we started with, let's lighten this photo a little bit using levels. Add a little contrast by pulling the black slider in. And in kind of a quick show, that's how we sharpen, soften, and adjust the values of our photo.